Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com. Welcome to our 2025 ski test. Today we're talking about this Faction Agent 2. Really cool ski, 96 underfoot, and blurs the line between a light all-mountain ski and a touring ski. So if you're looking for kind of a hybrid resort slash touring ski, or maybe you're looking for a touring ski with a little bit more strength to it, this is a great place to start. It's not the lightest thing in the world, so if you're looking for like a pure touring ski and you want to go as light as possible, you can definitely go lighter. But I think for a lot of skiers, like this is as light as you need to go, and then you get a nice amount of stability, a nice amount of performance out of it as well. I've always enjoyed and appreciated skiing this ski, and I think it's like one of those things that's pretty interesting to talk about. Faction as a brand is definitely known more for their twin tips, which causes certain people to just overlook things like the Agent 2 here, but it deserves some credit. It's a pretty darn good ski, and I don't think it should be overlooked. So lightweight Karuba wood core in this ski, that's how they keep that weight down, excuse me. And then they add what they call a full carbon weave to this ski's construction as well. So that is a really effective way to keep the weight down, but kind of boost performance by adding in that carbon. And before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, this ski is 182 centimeters in length. We are 96 underfoot, and we are at 1,520 grams. So considering the length, I mean, even without considering the length, that's a very light ski, but especially at a 182 with this performance, I think 1,520 grams is a commendable weight that Faction was able to achieve in this ski. And as you might expect, you know, you're rarely going to see a crazy stiff ski at that weight. It can happen. Typically, when it does happen, the skis can actually feel kind of harsh. That's not true across the board, but it is a common thing that ski manufacturers struggle with, is if you go light and stiff, it can get a little bit pingy. So the Agent 2 has kind of just this nice, round, supple flex pattern. Still plenty of support for skiing fast and aggressively, but a little bit of forgiveness or a little bit of compliance in that flex pattern as well. We already mentioned that we are 96 underfoot here. This is a 19-meter turn radius in the Agent 2, which I'd say, I suppose, is like on the bigger side of the turn radius spectrum, but not in a crazy way. 19 meters underfoot is pretty darn well-rounded. And then looking at the shape, truly a directional ski here. So not a twin tip, although Faction makes a lot of twin tips. This is not one of them. Little bit more tip rocker than tail rocker. Lower camber height than we see in skis like Prodigies or Studios. And this shape is really good for a ski that you are going to take into a backcountry situation. So the relatively straight side cut, that 19-meter turn radius with a little bit of early taper in the shovel up here and that rocker profile, it is going to let you make just about any style turn you can think of. You know, you're not going to feel like you're completely locked into a turn. You're not going to feel like it's hard to release the tail edge, but it's also not like swervy or drifty or just completely loose. And why that's a benefit is when you're in the backcountry, you can find yourself in like a really sketchy, scary situation really quickly. That's kind of what makes backcountry skiing interesting and feels like more of an adventure than skiing within the resort. And say you're traversing above a 400-foot cliff, and obviously you don't want to fall down that 400-foot cliff. Having a relatively long, effective edge just gives you a lot of confidence. You know you're not going to just slip out. You're not going to wash out. You can trust the ski. You know, even if you needed to like self-belay down something and like stick your skis in the ground, having that flatter tail is really helpful. I would hope that most skiers don't find themselves in a survival situation where they have to rely on their skis, but there is a reason why these backcountry skis typically have kind of a flatter, straighter cut, or often have a flatter, straighter cut. Talked a lot about backcountry here. If you're looking for just a lightweight inbound ski, there's no reason why you can't mount just an alpine binding on here. I don't think that's the best way to kind of go about choosing this ski, but if you do like more of a traditionalist feel, if you kind of like a little bit of a flatter tail, if that 19-meter radius speaks to you and you really like lightweight skis, I'm not going to tell you not to put an alpine binding on here, and nor would I tell you not to put a true tech binding on here either. You can kind of make this and turn it into whatever you want it to be based on your binding choice. To me, it certainly feels like a great match to something like the new Shift 2 from Salomon, which I think they did a great job with that Shift 2. So that kind of hybrid binding, that is where I see kind of the best potential out of a ski like the Agent 2. And I think it does a really good job in that category. So that's it. That is the Agent 2 from Faction. Let us know if you have any questions about it, and we will see you out there on the slopes.